Good afternoon, everybody. I'm sitting here at the park, surrounded by churches, starting with the Jewish synagogue that would have been up that way, and then across the street is the Catholic church, and then here is the Episcopal church. We're missing the Lutheran church, right? Yep. And then we have, this is Jeff. This is who I'm interviewing today. This is Jeff Keith, and we go over to the Methodist. And then we have Central Park here that is a park to the public and should welcome everybody. All right, Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself, and we'll kind of have a little talk here and let people know Jeff is without a house, and so he's a good guy. He's an extremely smart guy. Y'all excuse my the wind, and then excuse the shaking of the camera because it's held by my old hand. But Jeff, what do you got for us, brother?
Well, I wanted to share this before we really get started. You know, right here in this very park, about 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, there was an individual here that was the commissioner for all the parks. Mm-hmm. And this commissioner, they had free hot dogs and everything they were giving away. I don't know, some people still remember that.
Right.
Sodas and hot dogs and all that. And I came out here and they had the round tables and various people of different status were sitting around. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting actually right next to the person that was the, he was the top guy in the parks. Mm-hmm. Well, there was a lady from Channel 12 News, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I can't remember her name, but she asked for somebody to do an interview, and she left with him, and about 5 minutes later she came back and she says, "Is there anybody else that could do an interview?" And everybody pointed at me. So I wound up giving her an interview, in which really what I said is that right here in this very park, mm-hmm. as a young man, I used to spend time here. My grandmother would come here to shop on Saturdays, mm-hmm. and so I would find myself enjoying this park through the days when the weather'd be nice. And thinking on that and how much of an impact it had on my young life, right. You know, and having a place to enjoy, I think it's excellent to preserve this and to have things like this, mm-hmm. for families to come and enjoy, mm-hmm. and to make the most of nature. Because where are you going to find that in all this concrete,
right.
and brick and all?
Right.
And you know, it just gives you an opportunity for just even for a little while to get some fresh air and
right.
and have fellowship with people in a good, you know, environment that's even good for kids. So anyway, right. You know,
that's the preface.
That's an interesting thing, you know, since we're talking about being here in Central Park.
Yes, sir.
This is also a historical situation. You know, this is a historical location as well, mm-hmm. in the city of Ardmore, but I don't think it gets quite the recognition it probably needs to.
You want to talk about it just a brief?
Well, we can, but that would be more to the founding fathers,
okay.
And what
all
they
right.
decided would be the best routes to go and all. I think I can't really throw any stones.
Let me pause this real quick because that train coming through. All right.
There's more.
Mm-hmm.
There's more of those train noises and
mm-hmm.
well, the train will come through at midnight, I believe, every
mm-hmm.
night at midnight, and there'll be two trains passing each other.
Yeah.
Both of them competing
mm-hmm.
with their, you know, their horns.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, but anywhere in the city of Ardmore, even way off in the distant areas, you're going to hear that train.
Right, right.
And I don't know how people can sleep with that going on, because it'll permeate the boundaries you're on.
I stayed at 614 3rd at one point, and I'm like 2 blocks from the track. I slept through it.
Well, you get accustomed to it.
You get accustomed to it.
I remember there in Chicago, you know, on 3rd, there was the train there. Those people who know about Chicago
right.
knows that those trains can get pretty loud and
right.
they mm-hmm. shake everything, you know. And I remember living in a hotel downtown that, you know, where the trains would come through and
rattling,
you know. But this doesn't have anything on that in Chicago. Mm-hmm. But anyway, back to what we're saying.
So, Jeff, how did you find yourself to come to be without a house?
Well, actually,
now also let me why I'm saying that is because you corrected me when I seen you earlier.
Well,
I said homeless, and how do you like to say it?
Well, the thing is, I'm not actually homeless. I mean, I have residences,
right,
and I say that in plural.
Right.
I have places that I can stay.
Right.
Like I stay with friends in Long Grove, and mm-hmm. I lived out here at Lost Creek, mm-hmm. which is Maxwell and
right, yeah, I know
and
where
Refinery,
yeah.
which is a very nice area, mm-hmm. and I stayed there. My aunt owns a home there. She also owns a home over here on Wheeler, mm-hmm. and so I stayed there for a period of time. And there's various places that I can go if I find the need to go. Excuse me, I'm kind of having hiccups. If I find the need to go somewhere to get out of the weather or whatever.
Right, right.
But for me, it's more than just an economic situation. It's not just, like the loss of a job, or like it is for some people who just didn't know when to stop partying.
So the difference, how people become houseless or
Exactly. But see, I'm familiar with all that because I've explored a lot of the aspects of life, and I've lived homeless in the city of New York.
Mm-hmm.
I lived homeless in the city of New Orleans. I lived homeless in the city of San Francisco, which wasn't because I didn't have a place to go or a job.
Mm-hmm.
This was years ago where I could have just stayed where I wanted to stay.
Right.
But it was like to understand and to study the ways of life and people.
Mm-hmm.
My main interest, I have an associate in psychology.
Okay.
But I think I pursued psychology more for my own diagnostic.
Okay.
Than other people.
You're like, what the hell's wrong with me?
But if you don't at least get a doctorate, it doesn't do you a lot of good.
Right.
I mean, and you can't even really legally counsel anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell somebody they're crazy, but you can't help them.
Right.
You see, and you could tell yourself, if you're crazy.
Right.
But until you're able to find the parameters of the norm that are commonly accepted by all people socially, which I think we choose to call that the etiquette, and every time frame, every era or age or whatever you want to call it has its own etiquette. So I think the job description for a psychologist or a psychiatrist is to have a pretty well-rounded knowledge of that common norm, and to be able to go out off the highways and byways and even spelunk down into the caves of complexity and find people no matter where they might be,
Right.
and help them to find a common rationale, a common medium in this, this etiquette
Right.
of the common age. And I think that's what helped me in my studies, my pursuit, because I have autism.
Okay.
I still have autism even now. They didn't even know how to diagnose it. Whenever I was a kid, in this area,
So what did we call autism back in the day?
just being retarded.
Okay. All right. Let's
And that's
clear
what
that up,
they
right?
thought I was. They thought I was retarded
Right,
up
yeah.
to a point. But then in the 4th grade, I'm studying calculus.
Damn.
I mean, yeah, and
I was taking calculus in college, and I was like, shit, I dropped
Well,
out, bro.
it's perceptual. A lot of it is just
Right.
like algebra.
Uh-huh.
You take these math whiz, they understand that algebra is really very simple.
Yeah.
It's just so primary.
Right.
Composite math on steroids, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like understanding the recipes to bake a cake, for an example. Knowing the elements needed to create a resolve, and that's what it's all about. I had moved on to the quadratic theorems,
Okay.
understanding the quad as a means of thought, which is actually pure logic.
Okay. So you lost me and probably half the audience, brother.
well-
Bring us back now.
Spock says live long and prosper, but all of that is actual. See,
Right.
that process of resolve is used by people even now. It's just incorporating all the arithmetic and practical elements of resolve. The quadratic theorems, when you're studying advanced algebra, it gives you that prelim to it all. It's talking about the quadratic theorems. There's absolutes and unknowns. There's consistent and variable aspects. By understanding, one with the other, you can create absolutes out of unknowns. It's just a process of resolve. It's pretty lengthy and pretty difficult. But
Bro, you lost me when you said calculus.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Hopefully some smarter people can see this and
I
will.
never claimed to be so intelligent, but I was writing industrial protocols before internet. I worked out here at Uniroyal back in 1985. I started in October and worked until July of '87. Now they had a merger with B.F. Goodrich, and they had hired me on subcontract to upgrade the file archive. I mean, I was one of a few people that was getting their file archive ready for this merger. And I never had any engineering experience. I mean, I knew drafting.
I met a guy, and he said, and he's a smart guy, but he knew of a college that had went dormant or died, and he used that on his resume.
There might be some statutes that would be in violation of right there.
But
with the federal government.
Right, well, he's gone now, but
yeah.
he was my secretary's brother,
Yeah.
and he was a smart guy. He knew what he was doing,
Yeah.
right? Well, I worked with a guy out at Valero that was a pump mechanic, but the supervisors and some of the engineers would come talk to him. Yeah, he's just there's smart people without degrees all around this world.
Exactly.
You know, that's the only reason why I'm injecting that point there.
Well, I think the only reason for the sheepskin, so to speak, is for our protection.
Right.
You know, because we don't want to just go to any old body.
Right.
You know, we want to at least know that.
Hell, you don't want me doing your quantum theory.
Well, you know, but if you had that sheepskin that showed that you had the capacity,
well, I'd be
and that you were competent.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
You know, that's on anything. You know, that's what PhDs are for.
Right.
You know, that's for our protection. You know, if we're going to listen to somebody.
Yeah, but PhD can be idiots too.
Well, that's true, but there again, you know, we're not really supposed to align ourselves with that. I mean, you don't ever want to be that gopher that sticks his head up out of the hole.
Right.
You know, you got to go right along with the other ducks. You know? Oh, Lord forbid that you should notice something out of line there. But you know, back to what we were talking about, the homeless deal. So we get back on point.
All right.
And you know, you brought up about churches and religion. One of the things in my studies of life to understand myself is theology.
Right.
Because I had to determine, what do I believe? Well, I asked myself that proverbial question: what do I believe? What is true?
Right.
Well, that's an interesting thing. You know, you've got to really reach out there, and how do you know what's true when you don't know?
Right.
How do you teach yourself something you don't know? So you have to, by trial and error, you have to seek the truth.
Right.
Well, as that would apply to what Jesus had commanded, you know, us to do, and the methods that we learn from Jesus, and other things that are brought up in the whole doctrine of it all, and the concepts of it, I sought to separate myself from the ways of the world, literally.
Right.
And so, even though that I had the knowledge of how to create companies, you know, how to start businesses, how to generate and solicit funds.
Right.
And believe me, there are a lot of ways to get out there and do stuff.
Right.
You know, if you just have the audacity to do it.
Go do it.
Friends of mine and I in New York, and I won't mention their names, but they still do this. I was, you know, a financial advisor to a degree out there, unofficially in most capacities. But, you know, I used to help people to decide which way they wanted to go in their little ventures, or, you know, how to understand stocks and how they work, and, you know, the thing about investments and how to make the most of their money.
Yeah.
Well, you know, some of my friends and I would get together and we'd pull people together. We'd take somebody with an LLC, reach over here and grab somebody with a clientele, and then reach over here and do this with that and mix this with that. And by the afternoon, we'd got a full-scale company going out here and doing revisions on homes. You know, and be with the whole uniforms fabricated with the logo and everything. You know, the letterhead and all of it.
Okay.
You know, with CEO for their, you know, to get a CPA and everything they're going to need, and somebody to do the taxes. And all it is just knowing what is needed to do it and pulling it together to make it happen.
Right.
Well, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
But why would I want that headache? Why would I want the stress of that?
Working with other people kind of can be that way, right?
Well, it's not so much that, you know, because that's really, it can be entertaining.
Yeah.
Working with people, because I was commissioned in the military. You know, that's interesting. I mean, it's a little bit different than dealing with the civilian world. At least in there, when you tell somebody to do something, they better listen to you, or they wind up in a lot of trouble.
Unless it's an unlawful order, right?
Yeah. Even then, they got to follow it. You know?
Right.
Oh yeah. But no, getting back on the religious part of it, I have attempted to, since I got out of the military, which I was decommissioned on May the 10th of 1982 for hemophilia. It was a Chapter 15 discharge.
Okay.
Medical. You know, having hemophilia, my blood doesn't clot, so automatically they can't justify active duty.
So the blood doesn't clot, that means you could bleed out, basically?
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
So, you know, that limits my ability to do things that I enjoy doing, which is, to me, renovation is an art.
Right.
It's not just something to do from a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I took pride in my work, and I didn't just drag along like Picasso.
Right.
But I could make things happen. I've had a few projects here, and I'm not trying to boast, but I've worked with, various people. One of my my chief feathers in my hat is the courtyard, which is down here on East Main.
All right.
Now you can go down here on East Main just before you reach 8th Street Northeast.
Right.
And over on the right, there's a place there. It's an event center
Mm-hmm.
owned by Joel and Dinah Boyd. And I helped in the renovation of that. Actually, Joel and I together did that. And it took a few months.
Right.
But, it has all the downstairs is an event center, basically, with a place to dance and all that, entertain guests with a fountain in the back with a little flowers and floral arrangements and stuff. And upstairs is an executive suite.
Okay.
But to do a walkthrough and have the walkthrough videos on that was an art. And I think it would compare or probably compete with a lot of California deals, with the vaulted ceiling and all the moldings and everything, and creating the fake fireplaces and all, with just using moldings and things here and there.
Fake?
Stretched wires.
Did you say fake?
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Well, there's a lot of fake and sometimes pomp to
Right.
the put on. So to speak.
Right.
You got to be good at that, and doing renovation sometimes.
Okay. What are some of the most common misconceptions about people that are homeless? Is that a good question?
Yeah, that's very good question. Actually, that's primary. But it's so multifaceted that it's really hard to touch it with just one sentence.
Give us what you got. Give us what you got.
Well, there's people out here for various reasons. Like we indicated earlier. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of cough.
I'm gonna get that off of you.
But there are people that are what I call temporarily displaced for various reasons. One of the main reasons being they just partied too hard.
Okay.
They enjoyed the party, but they didn't realize that it comes to an end.
Yeah.
And some of them, when the party ended, they wasn't ready for it to end.
Right.
For one reason or another.
So this is what? Mismanagement of money?
Exactly, a lot of times.
Okay.
Or a mismanagement of trust.
Okay.
Or just making the wrong decisions and losing an apartment, for an example.
Right.
Losing a job. Or just making everybody that's able to help you in every way, shape, and form angry with you to where they don't want to help you anymore.
Right.
And then here you are, you're down and out, you don't have a way to cook food, you don't have a place to sleep. And it is difficult.
Now, is everybody that's homeless drug heads, drug addicts?
No.
Okay.
Let's
talk about that one, because I think that's a big one right there.
We find people that are homeless every day as a result of natural disasters.
Okay.
And other things. I mean, like
Tornado wiped out their house and they were never to
and
get back.
Fires and all that, floods.
And if people don't have FEMA to back them up, then they're basically crap out of luck, right?
Well, the sad thing is, even FEMA is exhausted.
Yeah.
I mean, they could help like on this natural disaster, but when there's so many, when there have been so many,
Right.
it's kind of hard to expect FEMA or the federal government, even though they might. A lot of those people are out there voluntarily.
Right.
You know,
Some people are homeless voluntarily.
No, I mean the people helping the homeless.
Oh, right.
volunteer.
Okay.
They're not even getting paid to do that.
Right.
And they're out there carrying water and food and stuff, and
Right.
trying to generate places for these people to stay.
Or make life a little bit easier.
A little
Not
bit easier.
much.
And I think those people are angels, but it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
God bless those people. Just like this Grace Center, I did a Faces of Grace, a video that they asked me to help them with a video, and I did. But I don't know how beneficial it's been. But they have helped a lot of people. They helped me out during a period of my time when I was out here and I didn't have a place to bathe or whatever.
Right.
It gives you an opportunity to shower. They have snacks and coffee and stuff like that in the morning. Sometimes sack lunches, and then people like you will bring in donuts and stuff on Thursday and other things, and it really fills a blank. Now a lot of people don't realize how much that or what that means to people. And
I had a fear of homeless. I was riding a bus out to California and coming through LA down through the fog, and then you get close to downtown, and I just seen a lot of, when I was a kid, I mean, I'm like 5th, 6th grade, and I was like, how these people, I mean, from a young age, how these people get here, you know.
Well, let me tell you something about having fear of the homeless. Check this out.
Well, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just don't know
But
people.
I'm going to tell you why you got fear of the homeless.
Well,
because I had fear. I had fear of the homeless stepping out of 33 Ellis, which is the Glide Memorial Church.
Where's that?
Where they have it's there in San Francisco.
Okay.
They have like a soup line, and sometimes it's like a full-scale meal.
Yeah.
The thing about that time frame, this is in the 80s, and there in San Francisco, you could go to various parts of town, St. Martin de Porres or the fire station out on 3rd, you know. You could go to breakfast, have, you know, scrambled eggs or oatmeal, you know, or sunny side over. You know, sometimes at some places you could even tell them the way you wanted it. You'd have lunch and even dinner in some places.
All right.
And then they had homeless shelters where they would raffle. You know, you'd have to come in early to put your name in for a bed for the night. And they would cover as many as they could cover.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, there'd be times that somebody wouldn't have a bed, but that wouldn't be all the time. There'd be other times if you got down there and got your name in the hopper, you might have a bed that night. But there was a lot of places that were there in San Francisco, but also in New York. You know, they got places like that in New York, places to go eat, and Brooklyn and Manhattan. You know, the names have changed on a lot of them, but I never really went to a lot of those because up there, you know, I had been pretty much adopted by the Greeks. Okay. You know, and even a lot of Italian people, you know, that just took me in as if I was one of them. You know? Okay. But I believe in being true and honorable, you know, with them and respectful to them, and, you know, just like family. So even now, if I really needed help, I could call on some of them, but I wouldn't do that. Right. You know,
now, is that pride you're saying right there?
It's pride,
right.
You know, but, you know, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't want to go back to New York without being in a better situation. I want to be dressed nice. I wouldn't want to go, you know, half baked. You know, it's just something you don't do, is to go back in your neighborhood and you're looking all rugged and hungry and nowhere to sleep. You know, you don't want to go back like that.
Right.
But anyway, back to the San Francisco. Leaving Glide Memorial Church and stepping out onto the sidewalk to a guy brandishing a butcher knife, growling and incoherent with his eyes spinning all around in his head and saliva coming out of his mouth. I'm gonna just cut and kill anybody. Right. And I got within 10 feet of this individual and looked him square in the eye. I had my hands in my pockets, and I didn't change my expression. I didn't show fear. But I think somewhere, even in his weird frame of mind, and by the protection of God, because I believe that it's the same God that protected Daniel in the lion's den. It's the same God that will protect us in a time of need if we have faith. But tempt not the Lord. You know? But you know, I was able to go around this guy, but I had been sleeping like it was a little passageway in an apartment complex that was kind of dark, and it was a little bit rainy that day. But I remember out of the corner of my eye seeing something shiny approaching me, and it was a blade getting closer to me. And about the time it got about that far from me, I went, kind of, but a little bit deeper, and it scared the person they ran. Another night I was in the Golden Gate Park in a similar circumstance. I felt the presence of somebody, and here's a blade coming towards me, and I growled in. This person was probably going to try to stab me while I was sleeping. So yeah, I mean, it's good to be afraid of the homeless. I don't know, probably I do it too much, but I'll get on my phone and I'll watch these videos about police arrests and stuff, and some of the vile things that people do to each other. And I don't know why I do that, but I pray for those people, even though that might have been years down the road, you know, but to realize that that kind of mentality exists in this world. And out here on the streets, you know, you got people like that just fell all the way through the cracks. They just somewhere, something snapped. Mentally. You got something like that, Right. And they're out here and they're just...
But they're not, that's not everybody.
No, not everybody, and they generally don't stay out here, but each one of those, there's generally victims attached to those people. Because it'll take a victim to get them out of circulation. And that's sad. And you can't just go because they look crazy and lock them up. But I know a girl, I'm not going to mention her name, that still circulates down around this area. You'll even see her hanging out in this park where there's a house right over here on 2nd and A that used to be a very bad place. It's where they sold a lot of dope, a lot of crack, and a lot of ice. And she wound up in there and was kind of held captive for a while until they used her up and got her all strung out and messed up on that dope. And she's not the same. You know,
so in her case, she's basically a victim.
Exactly.
Right, and then so
exactly, because you'd be surprised. There are people around here, and I got one gentleman right now that's very mad at me, and I think he's laying in wait. I've even gotten word that he's tried to generate somebody to do something to harm me for drugs.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've had people come to me and warn me, hey man, this guy is
looking for you.
He's wanting to hurt you. He's not going to hurt you himself, but he's going to pay somebody to do it. And the reason is because he's a predator. You know, he's got a house, he's got cars, but he'll go to the Salvation, and I can't mention his name, but he'll go to the Salvation Army, he'll go to the clothing place, he'll go to all these places looking for females that are down and out, so he can get them in a compromising situation. And he's mad at me because I prevented that from happening.
Right.
He tried to play that game on a friend of mine, and I pulled the plug on it to the point that.
So he's a predator and preying on the homeless.
Yeah. And so you got people like that out here.
Right.
There's another sad thing that's going on. There are a number of young females that have just been out here and just come up missing. I don't know where they've gone. I mean, I don't know. That's why I try to help them. You've seen one day where I wanted to try to help this one girl.
Right.
I didn't want her to wind up being a victim. But I'll give you an example of.
She had blue hair, didn't she?
No, it was blonde.
It wasn't blonde? I thought it was dyed blue.
There might have been a section of it that was.
But I remember who you're talking about.
Yeah. But she went on to get help with some tribe. They got her, up near Miami, Oklahoma, somewhere. They got her an apartment and all that up there. Eventually, they helped her. But the interesting thing is that day when I was talking to you about trying to help this girl, there was a guy that was standing there, and he was arrested here about 6 or 8 months ago for raping, sodomizing, I think it was a 11-year-old girl.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, his name was Chris Droz. Very tall, slender guy.
I remember him because you handled him different. I sat there and I watched you. Guys,
I could read it in his spirit.
Right.
I knew there was something about him because when I had first met him, I had counseled with him, and I try to do that with people. And I don't believe in sharing with you, what he's told me, or what other people would tell me. Just as if you came to me,
I just
in trust, I would never repeat. But I knew the heart of this man. Yeah. And this went on after that. He got arrested for that. He's doing time on it.
Right, because it was a year ago.
Yeah.
For you people, our backstory is with Jeff is we met a year ago.
About a year ago.
And then
in May.
And I was going to Women's Democratic protest in Durant, and I met Jeff at the Grace Center.
We had a blast.
Yeah, and then we went to go eat breakfast.
Yeah.
Because what Jeff told me was something that I learned in AA was the 12th step. He said most people don't.
It's at the 12th step.
Go ahead.
Having had an awakening as a result of these steps, we carry this message on to others that are suffering.
Right.
Now, that's the thing that few people are able to do.
Right.
They haven't quite found that awakening yet.
And see, I was going through my awakening, and as soon as Jeff said that, I was like, bing, went off in my head.
They're still going to stumble on something, and they don't know where to put a finger on it. I mean, they've already done their 5th step. Yeah. They've done some of the hardest things in there.
Right.
Even the first step is probably the hardest.
Quit drinking.
Well, yeah, a lot of people don't actually do that step in sequence. They won't do that until way down here at the 8th step.
Really? Well,
yeah.
I thought most people did.
No, believe it, they'll be in denial through all them other steps.
Okay.
And it'll come to that point where they go, whoa. All right, I finally realized what I need to do.
Yeah.
And they come to that admitting that they were powerless.
Right. Well, I got arrested a couple of times. Spent a night or two in the Hoos Gal. And so when I went to AA, my thing was, I'm not gonna quit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fail at this. This is my last. I'm 54 years old. I need to get my shit together, right? I mean, I had a job that 2 years later I'd retire from, but it just the idea that I needed to have a damn drink every day after work.
But, you know,
It's starting to be a problem, right?
the ludicrosity of it is that, you know, you're thinking to yourself, I enjoy drinking.
Well,
You know, it makes me feel good. And you're telling yourself this.
Oh, yeah.
And it does.
mhm,
And the only thing you don't want is the problems associated with it.
right.
If you could have that without the problems associated with it, oh, right on. And that-
Grandiose.
It don't matter what you put on the line, cocaine,
right, right,
highs, whatever, marijuana,
right.
cigarettes.
Hey, leave my marijuana alone
Yeah,
now.
but they're whatever.
Jeff
you
quit
put-
smoking last year.
Yeah.
He smoked. He doesn't smoke anymore.
I don't smoke. I don't do anything. My body won't let me. I'm too old.
Do I?
Now, when your body tells you you're too old to smoke, too old to drink,
mhm.
I've got something hanging in the
That's
back of my throat.
That's all right.
At any rate, no, the ludicrous.
Sorry about keeping the camera on you during that.
No, that's all right. I've been in front of cameras.
All right.
I mean-
you ain't afraid of it.
Oh,
I
no,
can tell.
Actually, I have done training films for the government.
All right.
Oh yeah.
All right.
My propensity, I believe, is protocol
Okay.
and logistics,
Mhm.
basically. So I've been down to Panama teaching that.
Mhm.
You know, I did some government contracting work,
Okay.
doing that kind of stuff.
All right. Any other reasons why people become homeless that
Oh,
you
yeah.
know of that people might be surprised about?
Well, I mean, I've seen this too. It's political. You know, there are politics involved.
Okay.
Some that just do not want to, and I've even felt these things too,
Mhm.
that don't want to give in to this type of politics.
Right.
They don't agree with the current structure, the
Mhm.
laws, and the way the government works.
Right.
But here they are, a citizen of this country,
Mhm.
but they don't want to contribute.
Right.
They don't want to participate.
Right.
Now,
Hey.
there's some people, unfortunately, they'll incarcerate themselves.
Mhm.
They'll become institutionalized just for a place to live
Mhm.
because they don't agree with the way things are out here. Now, that is ludicrous.
That's
But
that's
I knew a
good.
number of them when I was incarcerated,
That
that were there like that.
wow.
Because I was pretty much, not only was I a legal beagle, so to speak, I've got 4 people out of prison.
Mhm.
And one of them, one of the main ones, he was on interstate compact from up there somewhere like Illinois because he was a member of a organized crime
Okay.
type situation.
Okay.
And they sent him down here for some kind of agreement he made with them on interstate compact, but there was so many violations of due process, prosecutorial and judicial misconduct. It was clearly evident, it was blatant, but nobody would look at his case.
Okay.
And so I helped him through certain, I wouldn't call them loopholes, but still within a time frame, considering the, knowing the, trying to think of the proper terms, which anyway, legal terms are different if I'm in the mind for it.
Mhm.
I know, but no, I was able to help him get an appeal put through and to get it opened again, and they reconsidered his case. Certain things came out, litigation was extended, and then they let him out of prison. Only one of many. He died of a heart attack 2 months later. I found
Okay.
out.
Huh.
Al Franks was his name.
Mhm.
But no, I helped a lot of people in there. I mean, my knowledge of being able to see outside the box, so to speak.
Right.
I remember there was a period of time before I got out, and that's another thing that helps me or makes this a situation of being displaced is having been,
Displaced. That's what you told me, right? Not
Incarcerated.
homeless, displaced.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
because I'm only temporarily displaced.
Right.
That can be remedied,
Right.
by going into a shelter, or it can be remedied by getting a hotel room.
Right.
And I'm not without means.
Right.
So, and I'm kind of reluctant to spend money unnecessarily
Right.
when I can endure sleeping under a tree.
Mhm.
On a good day,
Right.
there wouldn't be no point in spending. I mean, the rooms are outrageous.
Right.
I remember when rooms were $14.95 a night, but you're not going to find one like that now.
Right.
But no, I've been a Mile High, member and all that.
Okay.
I remember in '87, for an example, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many miles I had, black miles,
Mhm.
that I had in '87.
Okay.
But
When did you become displaced? What year was it? Would you say?
officially, well, I'd have to say it by saying this. I made a decision while I was down here working at the end of East Main. I worked for a textile printing company down there. I was battling with certain things within myself after having been released from being incarcerated for 17 years
Okay.
on 2 counts of grand larceny,
Okay.
which, all that's expunged basically now
Mm-hmm.
because they allowed me to represent myself pro se after being committed
Mm-hmm.
to a mental asylum
Okay.
for observation.
All right.
Now, I graduated high school while I was at Central State Mental Hospital,
Okay.
but I was going to Norman High School
Okay.
and staying in the facility at night.
Mhm.
You know how difficult that would be?
That'd be very difficult.
Be very difficult. Well, I went on to get I had just under, in points, I could have been the salutatorian. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I can't really say that I graduated with honors. I'd missed 2 months of school,
Right.
but I still had a B+ average
Okay.
at Norman High School. That's not a common school.
Right.
Its curriculum is set up like a college prep school.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I was pressed by retribution, I think, more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. I walked a path of evil for a while.
Okay.
I mean, I had a lot of hate in my heart for the way I was treated, being brought up, before I became aware of the fact that I didn't have to let that rob me.
Mm.
That didn't dictate me. It doesn't tell me what I need to do with my future. Just because somebody was mean to me, I don't have to be mean to myself for the rest of my life.
Right.
Just because people abuse me, that don't mean I have to destroy my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I could take and restructure what I had left of it and move on. And that's basically what I tried to do. So after being in a position for 17 years where I couldn't go and do what I wanted to do, I was trapped.
Right.
I was trapped in an 8x10, trapped around people that I did not want to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Every kind of epitome
Mm-hmm.
of humanity you could imagine, I was in there with these people.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy that they would come to confess their ills. Help me, man, I can't stand it anymore.
Right,
kind
right.
of guy. Well, what do? Well, go talk to him. Go find a professor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call
Call
me.
it
But anyway,
professor.
I was on my search for my pearl of great price.
Okay.
And that's what I've been doing out here. It wasn't because of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't because of politics, so to speak. It's just that I had to.
Find yourself?
I have to put it like this. You have to know what that parable is first to really truly appreciate what a pearl of great price is.
Give it to us.
There was a man sitting one day, and this is in the Bible too, by the way.
All right.
Some people that have studied the old parables.
Jeff,
in the
you ain't
Bible,
gonna say nothing in front of this camera. I'm gonna put this out to the world, buddy. Don't be lying.
But here's the interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
This man was looking into the distance and he saw a caravan approaching him.
Okay.
And the prince, or this son of a sultan, had dropped a pearl of great price in the dirt.
Okay.
But since he had so many, when the servants wanted to search for it, he just, leave it there. I've got so many, let's move on. This man witnessed what had occurred. And he knew that in that spot of dirt, there was something worth more than anything that he owned. And so he took all that he owned and he sold it to buy that one little plot of ground. Because he knew that somewhere on that one turn to the other turn, he had come to the turn that had that pearl in it. And that when he found that, he would find something more valuable than anything that he had in life. Well, my pearl of great price is that little voice inside our head that tells us, yeah, you're on the right square. Turn left instead of right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now go this way instead of that way.
Intuition?
No, being on that, I would call it the fine line between this and that, between being awake, being asleep, between life and death, between pleasure and pain.
So during your awakening, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that you know what God's leading you towards.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing how to listen to God. Knowing how to be just like the prophets in the days of old.
Yeah, I'd call it being on a path. Sometimes we got a path, we can get off that path.
Exactly, but sometimes you have to veer from that path intentionally. God will, so to speak, he'll kind of kick the dirt away from the path. You won't be able to see it.
Yeah.
And that's for a reason. The mariners in the days of old, in order to find their course, when there wasn't any stars to see by or anything, they were covered in fog. A lot of times they would merely just, tie up the sails and pull in the anchor, and they would just drift.
Drift. I was
and
going to
they
say
would
drift.
watch the drift of the way they, when they'd see the bobs floating in the water, and they knew their direction,
Okay.
and they'd calculate by that. in order to know what their course was, according to the currents and all.
Knots and all this.
Exactly.
All right.
There's a method to that. Just like there's that Polaris tabular method of knowing the time and all and direction. You know, Polaris being the North Star.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of these things, gifts that God has given us.
Tell me this. Your dark night of the soul. Do you remember going through some of that?
Oh, yeah.
Can you explain to people what triggered you into that point, would you say? Or was there
Primal necessity.
primal necessity?
The very things that hold life together, you know, the need to eat, procreate, fear, anger, hate, drive, motivation, you know, hot, cold, you know, path of least resistance, you know, or the lack
death,
thereof.
Ego death in there?
Exactly.
Okay.
It can be. It all is in the method. I mean,
Well, everybody's different. It's going to go through
Exactly.
totally different things.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Mine was my son. I couldn't keep him alive. And then I realized that what we're going through now with how the government is, I seen a couple of clips and I was, they're trying to make a police slave state. And from a kid watching TV, I knew that shit wasn't
It's been going on for a long time.
Oh, I think it's been in the making. Well, I think a lot of people are starting to realize. You know, there was a lady wrote a book about she called Jesus and John Wayne or something like. I think her name was Christian Dumay, and how since the 50s, for sure, that she can look back and see where.
Yeah, I don't want to stomp on any toes, but I bet there'll be people watching our little video right here, and a large portion of it's going right over the top of their head. Now, I'm not saying they don't have the capacity to understand it,
All right.
but it doesn't fit their concept of the way things fit together.
Right.
The construct. So what people...
Well, that's what screwed me up, Jeff. I'm like, damn, I did everything I was supposed to do. I paid my taxes and this, and now you sons of bitches is trying
But it's
to,
the construct that has you, you know, lulled into it. It's not so much. Oh, and that's the when people talk about the Messiah coming to be this great warlord, and it turned out he wasn't that.
Right.
That he was Jesus that told people to love those that despitefully use them.
Yeah.
They didn't want to hear that.
Right.
They didn't. That wasn't a Messiah to them. But it's the same kind of concept that people are misreading when they look at the horses of the apocalypse. You know,
give us those horses of the
the
apocalypse.
the red horse of war is not going to come so much in the there'll be riots in the streets and all, but the real conflict is on more of a deeper nature with the individual. When
With
you come
within.
yes,
That battle with that's
Exactly.
the awakening. I didn't realize revelation meant awakening until I got into it, and I was like, oh my goodness.
I'll tell you, the true war begins when you realize that you've been trapped by the system.
Yeah.
The same system you're part of, and there ain't no way out of it. There's nothing you can do to get away from it.
I think that a lot of Americans are starting to realize
there
that.
because you have a kid, because you have a wife, because you have that car and the payments and obligations.
Right.
You cannot afford to, even for 1 week or even 1 day in certain situations, step away from it.
Yeah.
Whether you want to or not, you are trapped. You will feel the crack of that whip on your back. You'll feel them chains digging into your flesh.
You will feel like a slave, won't it?
And you know you are enslaved, but there is nothing you can do. That's another reason why I'm doing this right now. It's why I'm looking back at you over this phone.
There we go. Yeah.
And it's why I'm sitting out here temporarily displaced. It's not so much by, and I think that's what angers a lot of people. There's a jealousy in that.
Freedom.
Yeah.
So to speak, right?
What else can I lose? I mean, what can I lose? My health? My life? We're all going to die sooner or later.
Right.
I've seen people that, have died of lung cancer that didn't even know what a cigarette was.
Right.
I've seen people smoke a pack of cigarettes a day and die at 86 years old.
Right.
It's not so much what you do, but it's what you're made out of. But when it comes your time to go, you're going to go.
My little smart mouth, idiotic thoughts about Revelation was we're all going to die.
Well, yeah, but there's the thing. Once you do,
That's what I used to believe is like, okay, here's your revelation, you're going to die.
Yeah,
but you know what? I didn't know. I was thinking spiritually. I wasn't thinking spiritually. I was just physically.
yeah, but once you do,
egoically,
you
right?
wake into the judgment.
Right.
I mean, you go straight to the judgment.
Yeah.
Now, I know that sounds crazy, but there might be another 1,000,000 years to go on in that time frame, but you'll be asleep in the grave
Right.
until that time, and then you're quickened
Mm.
before the judgment of God.
Good.
And that's the way the Bible tells me. But see, that opens up so many things. Like Jesus even said that he had other sheep. He mentioned that. That, you know, his sheep would hear his voice, but he said, I have other sheep. They misunderstood what he meant.
Right.
But it wasn't so much the people that were Jews. You know, I guess it would fall into the category of what's Gentile. I mean, there's quite a wide range.
That's
of
everybody
Gentile.
else other than
That's
them.
everybody
Right.
that didn't.
Other than them.
Yeah, and you can't be grafted in. And I always thought that was
Well,
interesting.
yeah, you can. I
Well,
think, yes,
well-
yes. They see that. Okay, hold on. Oh, y'all about to have a.
No, go ahead. No, but I mean, I have to rebut this.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's just, I lived in New York for a while, and it wasn't until I was actually living around Jews that are traditionalists.
Right.
And,
Like the Orthodox.
Let me tell you, they got it all the way back to my grandpa was, and great grandpa, and all the way down to this one and that one. You know?
Okay.
And you ought to consider yourself privileged to breathe my air, to be able to hear my words, and to be in my proximity. And it's kind of hard to deal with that. I mean, especially when you got some of these Germans, you know, you can understand why they got so angry at a lot of Jewish people.
Well, you know, my understanding is that they were mixing pretty well. Matter of fact, I'm thinking they may have been mixing too well for some people's
I
liking.
don't think it was the fact of the mixing as much as the politics of it all. And,
Right. Money.
Well, no, the
Well, they
spiritual
collected. They took their
politics.
art and
No,
their
but
gold.
The spiritual politics.
Okay.
You know, when you start thinking of the Jewish people, they've always been known to be shrewd
Right.
and good businessmen, but I could never think of anybody that I'd want watching my money more than a Jew. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to waste it.
Right.
They're not going to spend it the wrong way. It's going to be accounted for.
Right.
They might not want to let it go, but they might find a way to get their hands into it a little deeper, but they're not going to let it be, you know, finagled. And
Okay, now you're not Jew smashing, are you, right now? Let's make that
I
clear.
would-
You're
I
not,
would never
you're not
be-
Christian smashing
No,
now, right
no.
now, are you? All right, you ain't black people,
No,
white people, or
no.
nobody else
No, I
smashing,
wouldn't
right?
do any of that.
All
I
right,
don't
you're just
believe
giving
in
a good, honest observation.
well, I mean, you know, I live around Semitic people.
Right.
I'm just saying, I know of their ways and
Right.
cultural consistencies. And I have to say that a lot of those people, they have a different way of looking at things than most people. And being that they can go back in their lineage and know that they're children of God, that they're following a pre-designed guide to the way that they're supposed to live according to the God of the universe.
Right.
And that their people have been adherent to that, even though they've been disobedient and they've gone down bad roads and they've been, you know, whipped for doing it, you know, in various ways. It's a very profound culture to be a part of. I have no faults against any of those people.
Right.
But it's kind of hard sometimes to take the audacity of some of them. It's kind of hard to swallow. And that's the only thing I was really pointing out.
Right.
But I think that's why a lot of them are really against Jesus.
I think, no, I think that's kind of coming around.
Yeah.
I've seen some rabbis talk about Jesus as some as a Messiah, and then some as a prophet. Myself, I struggled with it, but in order to understand how we are God, how I am God, I had to use Jesus when he said,
think
"Before
when
Abraham, I am." Well,
To be
if
more
he's before
specific-
that, you have to go back to the beginning of "Let there be light" at
but
the very
to
beginning.
be more specific about what I was referring to, it's more like the zealots. You know, the zealots and their attitude, mentality of what they felt that Jesus was supposed to be.
Explain to the people what a zealot would have been.
Well,
back
a
then.
zealot was a person that was very pro-law and very pro-Messiah.
Okay.
And so they propagated this whole concept of waiting for the Messiah, ready to overthrow the powers that have, had tyranny over us, whether they were Babylonian or, or Roman or whatever, Egyptian. It was just that living that every day, that waiting for that Messiah to come and building it, drumming it into our heads and drumming it into our children's heads that the Messiah is coming to deliver us from all this, and he's going to wipe them out, and we need to prepare for this time frame. And they would even go so far as to, well, the Messiah's not going to come if you keep acting like this, if you keep doing this and that and the bad, well, the Messiah will never come to us. You know, it was a way of keeping people in line too. So
Right.
that was more the way the Zealots lived.
Okay.
And so, you know, when I say people that are Jewish that don't really want to accept Jesus, the way Jesus actually was shatters that, because he was right everything opposite from what they expected Messiah to be. So, you know, and there's different types of Jews. There isn't just
Right.
one kind.
Right. Right.
You know, and that's
I think
unfortunate.
there's people really don't realize that, and they're like the Persian Jews.
Exactly.
There are Iranian Jews,
Exactly.
and those Iranian Jews aren't even being harmed by the Iranian people, and they're
Exactly.
fighting with Israel.
Exactly.
So there's something deeper there in that little
yeah.
makeup, right?
Well,
There's Babylonian Jews, there's Egyptian Jews, there are Zimbabwean Jews, there
we
are
were
Tunisian
talking
Jews.
earlier, you know, about Hagar and all, and about Ishmael.
Right.
And then I was starting to mention something to you. We got sidetracked, but I believe that God did that intentionally so that a time would come where, when I believe Ishmael was about 14, when the law of God was written on his heart and in his mind, being circumcised and being blessed of his father Abraham, then he could carry that truth and that message and the seed of that blessing on. And it had to be through him. And that's when God went ahead and allowed Sarah to be, you know, to be able to have Isaac.
Right.
And so that was able to be fulfilled according to what they had in their covenant. But then all of a sudden, here is the glory and the love of God, that through this young man, Ishmael, carrying that blessing, being the firstborn, and he carried it on to all the other peoples of Israel. And, you know, Esau, you know, what of them? I mean, if it would have just been the only ones, the descendants of Isaac, then all these others would not have had the blessings of God. They would not have, even though they might call him Yahweh or might call him Allah, you know, it's the same God.
Right.
And they're all the children of God. And they're all obtaining, they all hold the promised land. When you look at them all, they're all kin to each other. They're all of the same blood.
Semitic.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
And they're all Canaanite, they're all Hamite, and here they're all of the same accord. And even though they're Islam, which means peace, as opposed to Judaism, they're still of the same blood.
Right.
They just are unwilling to accept that and to extend that love to each other. But they can't hide the fact that the chosen of God occupy the chosen land,
Okay.
whether they're, you know, Islamic or whatever. It's the same God.
Okay. I agree with you. I'm not.
But one of these days they'll find that out, and that's where peace is going to come in.
Right.
I think they'll find that out. But, you know.
Hey Jeff.
Yep.
I'm gonna let you go, but we can sit down and have another talk, right?
Yeah, we can.
So, homeless people aren't bad, or
No.
displaced people aren't bad. They're not
I
all.
wouldn't really say so. I think they need help. I think there are people out here that need help.
Right. Did we talk about the Finland thing that I seen here recently?
You did. You brought that up.
I was talking to Jeff earlier about Finland. They've approached displaced or homelessness in a different way, whereas instead of making people jump through hoops to get all these things in order, they said what we're going to do is give them a house and let them and help coach them to get these things in order so that they can be not displaced anymore.
Before I would, I don't know, before I would bet on that horse,
Right.
I would have to actually break it down to see the differences between the social structures
Finland
of Finland
versus
as
right.
opposed to here,
right.
the basic ideology
Well, see,
of the people.
so okay, so let's do this then. So whatever Finland has, we'd probably be able to get a portion of
But
that.
see, they're not capitalists.
They're socialists.
Okay, that's
They're
true, but
Socialists.
see-
Most of those European countries are socialists. There's nothing wrong with socialism. Is you're helping people,
Yeah.
right? It's
Well,
not
me being a socialist, and I say that, I don't want people thinking I'm communist. I'm not
right.
communist. But it is a redefined socialism, and
Right.
a lot of people are not going to comprehend where I'm coming from right now.
Because
they're thinking-
everybody's mind is stuck
they're
on this
thinking
capitalism.
of the bad
Right.
problems of the past, where
Right.
something started out good and was contorted.
Well, usually communism is at the
Yeah,
top are
exactly.
a few leaders,
Exactly.
right? Now we're seeing capitalism is the same way. I mean, you have more people, but if you put everybody at the top and all the crap below them, you can eliminate a lot of
Well,
issues.
see, if socialism is employed as a form of government, you'll find that more and more people have input.
Right.
And yeah, there is a certain level of exclusivism on how much you put into it. It makes people want to contribute to the government, makes them want to be a part of the overall thing. People are less apt to party too much. They're going to want to go to universities. They're going to want to be more of a active part in a home. If they're homeless over there, it's not so much by chasing drugs,
Right.
As it is just by natural disasters.
I don't know. I don't know what their breakdown is. I just seen a clip of it. Is that their homelessness has went down?
Yeah.
And now this has been several years ago since they started this, but the people that have been displaced has went way down compared to other countries.
I could understand that, but there again, I would
by
have
giving
to,
them a place.
I would have to look at the social structure.
Right. Yeah, I'm on camera too. I ain't trying to lie, Jeff.
Well, we're not under oath, but there again, every day we live, we should feel we're under oath. And it's, I wouldn't want to lie. I mean,
Right.
I might misrepresent the truth. I might even get, kind of sideways with things sometimes.
Yeah.
My
Same
own
here. Same here.
misunderstanding, but,
Oh yeah, same here.
I'm quick to correct myself if I'm wrong,
Oh yeah.
and I don't want to lead somebody astray.
Right.
It's better to tie a millstone around your neck, throw it in the sea
Right.
than to do that.
I agree.
But no, I'm just out here trying to get my head on right, trying to find out which way I'm going to go. And I think,
day by day, right?
well, to a degree, this is the frightening thing. I'm 65 years old now.
Okay.
I'm not eligible for for disability. I haven't paid taxes since 1982.
Okay.
When I was decommissioned and all that, when I went through all that, every event from that time until now has been orchestrated. I've lived under the radar.
Okay.
Cash on the barrelhead for every kind of work I did, and it's not easy to do that.
Right.
But I was able to do it, and I did it. And so, here I am.
All right.
And I think I might have waited too long. Like right now, it is difficult for me to walk very far. And there was a point in time that I was afraid, before I quit smoking, I was afraid to go to sleep at night because I was afraid I wouldn't wake up the next morning. I was afraid my air would clog and I would die. I would suffocate in my sleep. That was one of the main things that scared me straight on smoking.
Okay.
And so now
That's been within the past year, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And so, with me now, I can say that I've gotten beyond that. I can breathe now, but I still have a lot of problems with my heart.
Right.
It was the way I was eating things and drinking city water and so many things that I was doing that was causing my body a lot of harm. You drink city water and it'll crystallize your urine and everything.
Okay.
The little particles in it. I was urinating in a jug, at night in my tent,
Right.
and then I'd have to dump it. But after a while, I saw a built-up of that residue,
Okay.
and that's in my body. It had my stomach all mooching out and everything. A lot of problems. I've got rid of a lot of that. I've been drinking nothing but water now.
Okay.
So I'm doing a lot better. But anyway, yeah, we'll probably have to continue this at a later time. We can or lose track of time.
Right.
But there's so much to say, and we'll recap a lot of this, I'm
Okay.
sure.
Sounds good. All right, brother. Good to see you again, and we'll talk to you later. All
Good
right.
to see you.